So we'll start. We'll start with our prayers. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmayedhi Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriritam Kalmashavaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Jana. Your nectar-like words, warm and inspiring life stories, eulogized by learned sages, are indeed eradicator of shoots of ignorance. These are auspicious to hear and propitious to inculcate in one's own life. Those who take these words to the world are indeed great benefactor of the world. So we have satsang today on Sri Sarada Devi and on her divine play. Like water gives life, and water sustains life, and water is all pervading. Similarly, its presence sustains life. Its presence gives life. So, Mother's life is also similar. And we are very happy today that Swami Atmajnanananda ji from Washington, D.C. is with us today. So, I'll request him to talk something on the Holy Mother. First, we'll read a passage and then we'll talk. And if you have any questions that he can discuss. Is Paul there? Paul, are you there? Okay, so I'll read that. Though we have already read this one. Holy Mother and the Minstrels. In 1917...
পেজ নাম্বারটা মহারাজ
বলছি Okay, page number 541. In Holy Mother's life, Holy Mother's time, Jairambati had no doctors and medicine was not easily available. Holy Mother suffered from malaria many times in Jairambati, and Swami Sarada would send doctors and medicine from Calcutta. So this is the background. So when women bathed in the same Banerjee pond, which is located on the south side of Jairambati village, the villagers used to water for drinking also. I used to take bath in Amodar river at the northern part of the village. One could find pure clean water by digging into the sandbank on the river by hand. I decided to collect that water for the mother to drink. So I carried a pitcher with me when I went for bathing. I collected that clean water and put the pitcher near the mother's altar in the room. I said, Mother, you worship the Master with this water and then use it for drinking. I thought that the mother would be pleased with that water, but she scolded me instead. She said, who has asked you to bring this water? I have not asked you. I drink the sweet water of Banerjee Pond. Don't bring it again. Later I noticed that the mother used the water I had brought for worshipping the Master, and she drank it also. The next day I thought, since the mother was drinking this water, I should bring it again, though she forbade me. This water is undoubtedly purer than the water of Banerjee Pond. So I took the pitcher to the river as before, collected the water in the same way, and brought it to the mother. Seeing the water, the mother angrily said, why have you brought this water? Who has asked you to bring it? I forbade you, and still you are bringing it. I am satisfied with this local water. Will you not obey me? Do not bring water anymore. I kept quiet, but I noticed that she used that water again. The next day, I brought water from the sandbank of the Amuda river and placed the pitcher once more near the altar of the Master. This time the mother became very much irritated and told me, I am forbidding you repeatedly and still you are bringing the water. Will you not listen to me? Observing that the mother was enjoying the water, I emphatically replied, Mother, I go to bathe in the river every day, and I will bring water for you. If you wish, drink it. Otherwise, don't drink it. But I will bring water every day.
Who is saying this?
This is Swami. What is his name? Bardhamaj, I think. Yeah. His reminiscences. Okay, so the incident. The next day, I brought water from the sandbank of the Amoda river again and placed the pitcher once more near the altar. So, observing that the mother was enjoying the water, I emphatically replied, okay, that one is done. So, at this, the compassionate mother told me in an affectionate voice, my son, you are bringing that water and I am drinking it with great relish. This water is really good for my health. I forbade you because I did not want you to suffer from carrying this water such a long distance. I deeply felt her motherly affection and compassion. On one other occasion, I disobeyed the mother, Mandakini, and said that story also we have read, that Mandakini was ill and mother wanted her to be in her room, but with consultation with Keshavanandji Maharaj, he took and arranged to send her to Kualpada. So that also, in the beginning mother was angry, but then she explained that why I was keeping her. She was keeping her because for her affection for her, and so that way. So hearing this, the mother angrily said, "Why have you brought the palanquin without asking me? She has come to serve me. Where will she go? She will stay here. Who has given you permission to bring the palanquin?" Determined, I said, "Mother, I will not listen to your order. I am sending her to Kualpada." Holy Mother replied, "Then you won't obey my order?" "No, Mother, I won't listen to your order in this respect." Moreover, Radhu's son comes to your room, and this is not good for him. The mother did not say anything. I asked Manda to get ready, which offended her immensely. Her desire was to stay with the mother all the time, although there was great difficulty with her staying in Jairambati. She preferred to be near the mother if she were to die. She was reluctant to move anywhere else, and she too was mad at me. When the mother went to Punyapukur, a pond, I told Manda. So in her absence, he told to Mandakini, you have come to serve the mother, and now you are thinking only of yourself. Can't you feel the mother's difficulties? As soon as the mother returned, I kept quiet. Again, when the mother went out, I insisted, if you do not want to give trouble to the mother, please get in the palanquin. Don't delay anymore. You will have to go to Kualpara. Reluctantly, she got up from her bed and got into the palanquin. As soon as she left, we cleaned the room, and slowly the bad odor of the patient disappeared. Later, the mother told me, it is good that she was sent to Kualpara. She had a desire to stay with me. She came to serve me, so I forbade you from sending her against her wishes. After a few days, Manda was cured of pneumonia and returned to Jairambati. So this is these two incidents. So that shows mother's compassion for her children, and at the same time we can see the firmness of devotees, where it should be how one should act in such situation. So Maharaj.
Yeah, it sounds like Holy Mother gets angry very easily, but we have to understand that these were mostly young boys at this time. This was part of that Leela of the Holy Mother. She almost had two sets of children, or two sets of sons, really, the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, and then these young boys who lived in this village, Koalpara, which is quite close to Jainavati. Either it's a good walk, or most of these boys had bicycles, it seems. And Holy Mother relied on them so much because there wasn't much access to fresh vegetables and other things in Jainavati, but somehow in Koalpara there was more access to it, and these young boys would come. I think this is Bharada Maharaj, the Swami Ishananandaji. He was probably 10, 11, 12 years old at this time.
That time cycle was also not common.
Not common.
Yeah. That time it was very rare.
Rare.
So people used to walk.
They would mostly walk, yeah. But I think there may have been one or something in Koalpara that they would. Anyhow, so they would bring vegetables and things like that. So we have to remember, she's talking to a young boy. He could be 12 years old at that time. It's not very clear. But this getting angry is not a getting angry. No, it's a tiny bit irritated, not really irritated, but why? Because she doesn't want them to go to so much trouble. Does it say? Yeah, it should be. And he wrote a beautiful reminiscence, and
no, it's Parameshananda.
Parameshananda. Anyhow, they were all the same little group. And this Koalpara Most of you know these things. That was really a kind of stopping off point. Whenever a Holy Mother would go back to Dakshineshwar, she would stop in Kowalpara and take some food there. It grew into a little ashram, and now it's a regular center of ours. And she went so often that they built a whole separate set of rooms for her, and a shrine was there, and there are many incidents that took place in Kowalpara. When she was very ill, she would go there. When Radhu was pregnant and she couldn't bear any sound or noise, they took her there. So it's a beautiful chapter in the life of the Holy Mother, and it shows how she really looked upon these young boys as her very own, and they loved her, and they served her and everything. So that was their life. We don't know if they went to school or what they did. They didn't have much education, very simple, and many of them became monks of the order, and some of the great monks of the order. And I asked our Swami Swahanandaji one time that did you notice anything special about that group? Because he knew many of them that had taken the sannyasa that came from that Kowalpara. And he thought for a minute, and then he said that we saw that they never did very much of what we normally think of as sadhana. So long hours of meditation, this and that they felt such a natural feeling that Holy Mother was their real mother, that everything was spontaneous. And of course, there's some exceptions. We have Gopesh Maharaj, who wasn't, he was later a great disciple of the Holy Mother. He wasn't part of this Kowalpara group, but he was very austere. But that particular group, they were just very simple, real simple village boys. And they loved Holy Mother so much. Now the head of that ashram, we read stories that Keshavananda Swami, that Holy Mother would also get annoyed with him, that he was strict with them and everything. And there's a beautiful recorded reminiscence of this Gopesh Maharaj, Swami Saradeshanandaji, that I recommend very highly to anyone if you haven't seen this. There's a series of reminiscences that Swami Swahanandaji gave about many of these great Swamis of the order. And one of them was this Gopesh Maharaj. And Gopesh Maharaj said that we get a very wrong impression of this head of this Kowalpara ashram, that he didn't listen to Holy Mother, he was too strict, this and that actually Holy Mother loved him very, very much, that he served her so much, that we really have to understand that this impression, because whenever she felt so close to any of these monks, that she very freely, she could express her feelings, and she couldn't bear to see these young boys who were just young monks at that time, suffering in any way, that there wasn't, because they were very poor. It was a poor village and a poor ashram, there wasn't much food or anything. So, but she relied on him so much, and this Kowalpara became really a second home for Holy Mother.
That was an ashrama for freedom movement in the initially. But gradually those who came and stayed there, it's called Swadeshi movement. So they started with that, and that time not much to eat. So boys would not get enough food. So they would go to mother, and mother would feed them. So gradually what happened? Gradually they started obeying mother. So then Keshavanandaji told mother that you should not give them food or just scold and tell what to do. So then mother said, no, this is not the way. But you have to love those boys like that.
Yeah, so there's so many stories at this period, and how Holy Mother showed her universal love, because at that time this Swadeshi movement was also when they were trying to boycott British cloth that would come in, because the British were flooding the market and trying to put all of the local cloth makers, trying to put them out of business, we could say. And it was the fashion, if you wanted to have some nice cloth, to get the foreign-made cloth. So everybody preferred that. And so they came to Holy Mother, because they, at one time, some devotees wanted to give some of these gifts to the Holy Mother's nieces and everything. And the Holy Mother said, but they prefer this British cloth. And then the other said, no, but they're the enemy, and we're trying to boycott them. All of that. She said, yes, my child, but they're also my children, the British. So she had that wonderful attitude of feeling everyone to be her own, making no distinction that way. So anyhow, this is a beautiful period of her life. She had gone back to Jayarambati. This is all after Sri Ramakrishna passed away, of course. And as I say, many of them became very wonderful monks of our order. They were just young boys at that time. And there are many, many stories how they would help her make chapatis and things. And they had so much access. See, when Holy Mother was in Kolkata, that she remained veiled all of the time. Very few exceptions. And during Sri Ramakrishna's lifetime, or Latu Maharaj, because he was young and he was a servant boy, and he helped her with all different chores and everything, so he had some access to that. Probably this elder Gopal, who was much older, but even the direct disciples, the others, unless they went to Jayarambati, they never saw her face. And even there, this was a very interesting thing, that Sharat Maharaj, Swami Sharadananda, he served her more than anyone. So, see, Holy Mother had a few different attendants at different times. Among the direct disciples, Swami Yogananda, Swami Trigunatitananda, but it was Swami Sharadananda at the end who was the longest sevak. And for some reason, even when he went to Jayarambati, she remained veiled in front of him. And he would always be very much annoyed that he would say, what is this? Am I your father-in-law? That I can't see your face? So there are a couple of nice stories. One took place in Kawalpara, where Holy Mother had very high fever. And they were doing everything to make her feel cool. And the Swami Sharadananda, Swamiji used to accuse him of having the blood of a frog or of a fish in him. That he never got upset. His blood never boiled over, always very calm. Anyhow, so the only way that they could bring some coolness to Holy Mother was for her to touch his body. So he felt this was a great kind of grace that Mother was giving. And then at the very end of her life, this is also a very beautiful story. At the end of her life, Holy Mother, she's now in Kolkata, Udbodhan, and they're trying to get her to eat something. You know, people when they're at the very end and they're feeling very weak, that you have to force them. They don't really want to eat. So there were others there, her attendants and everything, and Holy Mother would get very annoyed and say, no, I won't take anything. You keep sticking things in my mouth and everything like that.
Like thermometer that time.
Yeah, to take her. And
they put under the arms. All the time we are putting the stick in my...
Just like Thakur used to say, you're pressing down my tongue like they do to a cow. He used to complain. So anyhow, this was part of that play. She said, bring Sharat, the Swami Sharadananda. And he very sweetly said, Mother, if you feel like you take a little... And so she removed her veil, probably the first time he saw her face, and then took a little food from her. So he felt, and we feel also, that Holy Mother just wanted to eat very slowly. So, yeah. Don't rush, take your time and everything. That was her way of showering her grace, because she loved him and relied on him so much that whenever she had to go back and forth, she would say, is Sharat there in Kolkata? And if they said he wasn't there, he said, then drop it. There's no way that I'll go there unless he's there at the same time. So he did everything for Holy Mother, even this Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, the great master, that he wrote that partly, of course, that we needed a definitive biography of Sri Ramakrishna, but also to get some money so that the Holy Mother could have a permanent place, that they built what we call her new home in Jairambati, and of course later even a temple, and then to pay off the debt and everything. So part of it was just for the sake of Holy Mother that he did all of that. And here a monk who was told by Sri Ramakrishna, all of them were, don't keep the company of women, you're monks. Here he spent almost his whole monastic life in a house of the women devotees. And he had a tremendous ability to remain calm and serene under all circumstances. So the life of Holy Mother, there's a certain sweetness to it and simplicity to it. And she was acted like such a typical village woman that it was very easy for people to forget who she was. And for many, many years, people thought, who is this Holy Mother? She's the wife of Sri Ramakrishna.
Yes, Saru.
Yeah, Sadhu, yeah. There's a wife of Swami Krishna making a big fuss over her and everything, but gradually they came to understand her greatness. And Swamiji, he used the grace of Holy Mother 1,000 times greater than Sri Ramakrishna himself. And he wrote beautiful letters to Mahapurush Maharaj and others that please forgive me, my brother, but none of you have understood Mother, how great her grace is upon me. And and Swamiji perhaps never saw the face of Holy Mother, perhaps never heard her voice. The Holy Mother was so shy that there were times when she would just whisper to Yoganma or Golapma, and they would relay what she had to say. So we don't know if Swamiji ever went to Jairambati when she was there, or even if he did, perhaps he didn't see her face. But he had so much love and devotion for Holy Mother.
When he would go to Holy Mother, so he would take bath, Ganga bath, and then sprinkle water. And after going in presence of Holy Mother, he would prostrate before Mother. So Hari Prasanna Maharaj. Hari Prasanna.
Yeah.
So Hari Prasanna Maharaj means Swami Vijnanananda. So he said, Swamiji asked, have you gone to make pranam to Mother? So he said, no. What have you done? Go. Now go and make pranam. So he went there and somehow bowed down before Mother, but Swamiji was behind him. What are you doing? Prostrate yourself. So he could not understand that Swamiji was following him. So such was the devotion for Holy Mother, especially Swamiji. Swamiji respected Holy Mother and expressed devotion towards Holy Mother.
When the Swamiji was thinking of going to the West for the Parliament of Religions, that he had his doubts. They raised a lot of money, his Madrasi disciples, and he said, no, give it all away. I need, if money comes again, then I'll take it as a sign. And then he went to Kanyakumari and he had a vision, Sri Ramakrishna beckoning him to go to the West. None of it was enough. He said, only if Holy Mother gives her approval. So he wrote to Holy Mother, said, yes, my child, it's the Master's will that you go there. Then he felt free to go. So Swamiji really had anything that Holy Mother said. When they wanted to do Durga Puja for the first time at Bellarmut, and Swamiji had this great desire to do everything according to the book, everything very formally, the way it's been done for years and years. Part of this is offering of a goat. And so the other disciples thought, can we really do that? We're sannyasins, is this a proper thing to do? And whenever they were in trouble, because Swamiji, he was their leader, they didn't like to contradict him. If there was ever any issue, they would say, well, why not consult Holy Mother? So as soon as Holy Mother was told of this, he said, no, it won't be appropriate that you're sannyasins. People are coming from far off countries and everything. They won't understand it. So Swamiji immediately, he dropped it.
And not only that, she argued. She argued that you have taken vows to give protection to all being. And there's a part of our sannyas. So to give protection to all being. So how can you have sacrifice of a goat? So that was the argument. And Swamiji immediately could understand. He said, okay, mother.
The second example was at the time of plague. This was 1900, I believe, that time, that the main relief work and the main reason how plague was eliminated in Kolkata at that time was because of the work of some of the monks of the Ramakrishna order, especially Swamiji's disciple Sadanandaji and Sister Nivedita. And they went into these very poor slum areas. And this plague was because of rats, was because of all the dirt and filth accumulated, and they had to clean out everything by themselves, a tremendous job. But money was needed. And Swamiji, he said, we're monks. We should have no place to stay. The sky thy roof, the grass thy bed. We can sleep under a tree. That we should sell this Bellarmut property, and that money can be used for this relief, to try to eliminate plague in the city and rebuild the city and everything. So again, the brother disciples, they were a little bit shocked. They worked so hard to have a permanent place for themselves. So they said, why don't we consult Holy Mother? So as soon as they went to Holy Mother, she said to Swamiji that, yes, all of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, you can do it. That you could live your life begging and wandering, living under a tree, but this next generation, they won't be able to do it, number one. Number two, this doesn't belong to you. This is in the name of your...
Dedicated to Guru Maharaj.
In the name of your Guru, this was started. It's not yours to do it. And third, how much great work will be done in the future? How much service will be done in the future because of this Bellarmut? So immediately Swamiji dropped it. Just a single word from Holy Mother, and that was enough for him. So, and very quietly, she had that. She was the Sangha Janani, the mother of the monastic order. And everyone had that same respect for Holy Mother and love for Holy Mother.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maharaj is a scholar of Vaishnava philosophy. So he did his PhD on that. So anything like Vaishnava, some parallel of this?
Sri Ramakrishna says in one place, Chaitanya Deva also worshipped or believed in Shakti. And part of the idea that they have is that Radha represents the Shakti aspect, and Krishna represents this, we can say Purusha Shakti or Shiva Shakti. They have that same belief that Radha was this, they called it Hladani Shakti, the Ananda aspect, blissful aspect. So they this idea that's common, and I'll talk about this on Sunday minutes, with mother worship. This is very common to so many different traditions, that there'll be a male aspect, which is the transcendent, pure consciousness, what we call Nirguna Brahman aspect, but then there'll be the power, the divine power that accompanies it. So they have that idea also in this Vaishnava tradition. It was almost entirely the work of Jiva Goswami. That he wrote a series of texts, 6 different books called Sandarbhas, and they deal with all these different aspects of this relationship between these 2 aspects. So nirguna aspect, saguna aspect. So they'll accept both. The philosophy of the Gaudiya Vaishnava school is an interesting combination of non-dualism and dualism. Achintya means something that transcends our ability to understand. Not illogical, but beyond the ability of this ordinary mind, just as Ramakrishna says. Bheda means there's a distinction between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, a bheda. On the other hand, there's a oneness. So how can 2 things be true, that they're identical and separate at the same time? It's achintya. It's a paradox that the human mind will just have to accept to see the truth of that, but it goes beyond ordinary reason to understand that. So it's a very nice idea. We find this, I find it very much parallel to some of the teachings of Swami Krishna. That this is what we call the Brahman will always have these 2 aspects, with form, without form, personal, impersonal, with attributes, without attributes, that they'll exist side by side, without any distinction, without any difficulty, and yet to the ordinary human mind, there seems to be some type of paradox or contradiction. That one thing is, in fact, when M first heard Sri Ramakrishna speak, and Sri Ramakrishna said that God is both nirguna saguna, with attributes, without attributes, and M thought, well, how is it possible? It's not logical. How can milk be white and not white at the same time? So there's a good example of how the spiritual truths go beyond the ability of the mind to explain. One of the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna was the inability of the human mind to understand things beyond this realm of time, space, and causation, as Swamiji would put it, that this Maya is something that is inscrutable, that we can understand how we need this concept of Maya, that how the one becomes the many. How do we explain? If something is essentially one, how does it become many? And either we say through Maya, which means that something inscrutable we don't understand, or we say, well, there's some Shakti, some power inherent in it. So this Vaishnava tradition accepts this idea of Shakti, that 3 different types. Then one will be the Swarupa, that what is the real nature, and this is, so there's an Antaranga, Bahiranga, internal, externals. So one Shakti is responsible for this physical universe, one Shakti is responsible for individual souls, and then one Shakti for this pure transcendent nature of the Brahman. So it's a nice philosophy, but people don't, the tradition has become more dualistic now. People don't really, even within the tradition, they emphasize more that dualistic relationship. Now, for Sri Ramakrishna, he also emphasized the dualistic relationship without tying it into any metaphysical doctrine that individual soul and supreme soul are eternally separate. He said, no, we just read about it because the stick of ego. It gives the feeling that there's separation, and that allows us to have a relationship. So Sri Ramakrishna explains everything in a beautiful blend of philosophy and psychology. He was a brilliant psychologist because he understood that no matter how many times we can convince ourselves that this ego is something imaginary, non-existent, insubstantial, that this feeling of I comes. And he says the very next moment, he said, you can argue 1,000 times that this ego doesn't exist. The very next moment it'll pop back up. Yes. And he said, then let it remain. Let that rascal remain, a servant of God, child of God, some type of relationship. So Sri Ramakrishna is, we forget, I think, or don't give enough prominence to it. He had a brilliant mind. He had a brilliant mind. I think if we compare it to Shankaracharya, Ramanuja, any of the great acharyas, we find that it was more subtle and more flexible and more inclusive. He had the ability to see things from every angle because he practiced things from every angle also. That to me, he was the greatest philosopher without being a philosopher at all. That we know about his spiritual attainment, we know about his love, compassion, and everything, but sometimes we may overlook the brilliance of his mind.
Philosophy is through words.
His was through experience, but many others had also experienced the very highest. But he had the ability to just see it from every possible angle. Of course, he experienced it through different paths. We know that also. But I think many have that experience, but still don't have that subtlety of mind to be able to explain it so clearly with the different parables, examples, and everything. Yeah.
So many.
That
whatever he said, immediately he gave 3-4 examples.
So simply he could explain everything. That we just get the feeling. We get the feeling that now we have some context. Not that we understand it. This is one thing that I've come to realize, that we can understand some of these examples, analogies, parables. We can understand them very well. Say this, the sun being reflected in different containers of water. We can understand that very well. And at the same time, we have to remind ourselves that does that mean that I know how Brahman appears as all the individual souls? No. It's very easy to understand how the sun can be unchanged and appear. But Sri Ramakrishna says, don't get confused. That these analogies only give a hint. He says it's avashmatra. They only give a hint with these things. We have to experience these things in order to really understand. Even then, for Sri Ramakrishna, another thing that was so brilliant about him, even then, for someone like him, he'll say, who can understand the ways of God? Yeah. Who can understand how these things happen? He says, sometimes I also throw up my hands and say, who can understand these things? So he lets us know very clearly what we can understand, what we can't understand, what we don't have to. And he said, after realization, you may not be interested anymore. You've met Jadu Malik. If you want to know about his properties, you can ask. But who will care? We're trying to meet the owner of the garden. So he gives all these different examples.
So once somebody told mother, we don't want nirvana. Nirvana means total extinguishing. Nirvana means like a lamp is burning, extinguishment of that. So mother said, my pagol chele means my crazy boy. Sri Ramakrishna is Nirvana Swarupa. So he is Nirvana. So apparently it looks like they are also talking about in ordinary parlance. But the basis, that is the unity. All other things are there. But the basis is that unity. That Supreme Being is the basis of everything. So even Sri Ramakrishna, what Sri Ramakrishna said in simple way. Similarly, mother also in her own way, she conveyed her teachings in a very simple way. My pagol chele, my crazy boy. Sri Ramakrishna himself is Nirvana Swarupa. So like that. Any example, Maharaj, like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like somebody disobeyed him and later he appreciated that.
He was very strict, Chaitanya Deva. See, We always associate his life with singing and dancing, and but he was very, very strict with monastic vows and things like that. But he was also known for his tremendous compassion. And there's a story of there were two ruffians in the town, Jagai and Madhai, that would go and terrorize this little group as Vaishnavas. And they would even throw stones. And so one time, Nityananda and Chaitanya, we call them the two brothers. They weren't really brothers, but Taraduhai. They embraced them and shared this love, this pure love to them, and they became converted and became very great followers of theirs. So he could be very strict on some occasions. We know the story of
Haridas.
the younger Haridas, yes, who he begged food from an elderly widow who was also a great devotee. And the teachings of Chaitanya Deva were even stricter than Sri Ramakrishna for these young boys who wanted to lead a pure monastic life, to not mix with women, and he made them leave the community because of that, to set an example. But otherwise, he was the most similar to Sri Ramakrishna in terms of two things. One, this spiritual ecstasy, and the second thing is something we call uddipan, or uddipana. This is the ability of something to trigger a spiritual mood in the mind. Right. And we have three examples of this. Always they point to Radha as the first. So Radha, we hear all of the stories. If she saw a peacock with the tail open, and Sri Krishna used to have a peacock feather and he would wear in his crown. So as soon as she saw that, she would think of him and go into some ecstatic mood. Or she'd see a dark rain cloud, think of the complexion of Sri Krishna. And so we see this with Chaitanya Deva, that there are so many instances where he would see something, he'd be in a village, and he would hear that the clay in the ground was used to make this drum, kol, that they would use in kirtan. And the one thing, association would lead to another, and then kirtan, and thinking of Krishna, and then he'll go into ecstasy. Yeah. So this happened with Sri Ramakrishna so many times.
Yes, Sri Ramakrishna was like a lion.
Yeah.
Saw a lion. And
yeah, think of Mother Durga. Yeah. Then he'll be gone. Or he saw, they had an exhibition one time. There's a place called the Maidan. It's a big open field and open area, like our mall in Washington, D.C., where they'll have all different exhibits and circuses and everything. And there was some exhibition of one of these lighter-than-air balloons that was going on. So he went to see it. And there was one English boy leaning against a tree, bent in three ways, just the way he was leaning. And we have these pictures of Govinda, of Sri Krishna, playing his flute, bent the same way. As soon as Sri Ramakrishna saw that, he thought of Sri Krishna and went into some ecstatic mood. So this tendency of the mind to have ordinary things trigger this ecstatic mood. This was common to Chaitanya Deva and Sri Ramakrishna. And Thakur always compared himself. He's just as Chaitanya Deva had three moods, the innermost and the intermediate and everything. Yeah. And so many times he would compare. He wouldn't necessarily say, I'm like that, but he would talk about it and everyone would know that he was also describing himself. So Sri Ramakrishna, he had this absolute conviction. After going to Navadvip, he went there with the feeling, with some doubt in his mind about this Chaitanya Deva. This is also interesting, that the village that he grew up in didn't seem to have really any Vaishnava families from that Chaitanya tradition. And it was one of these villages that had all different types of temples. Some will be Vaishnava villages, some, but this was one with all different temples. But he said growing up that we didn't have too much faith in this Chaitanya Deva. We didn't know And all of the direct disciples, we read in the Great Master, the Swami Atmajnanananda, he writes, growing up, we thought, who is this Chaitanya Deva? They're setting him up as some great soul, this and that. We had our doubts about it. So anyhow, when Sri Ramakrishna went to Navadvip, he also was very depressed. He was there for a few days and nothing. Then they're in the boat, and suddenly he has a vision of these two golden complexion boys. That'll be Chaitanya and Nityananda. When he would have a vision, very often he would see them and they would come and merge in his body. And so anyhow, from that time onward, he was convinced that Chaitanya Deva was an avatar, and convinced that we know how many times he said he was Krishna, he was Rama, is now in this body, is Ramakrishna, but also this Chaitanya Deva. And Swamiji says that he heard Sri Ramakrishna say on various occasions that the three of them, this Advaitacharya, and Nityananda and Chaitanya Deva, all three are manifest here in this, and Chaitanya Deva.
Advaita, Nityananda, and Chaitanya.
And it's also a play on words, because he says through this Advaita, this knowledge of Advaita, then one gets Chaitanya, awakening, then one gets bliss, Nityananda, eternal bliss. So he would use the three, the double meaning for the three things. So it's very interesting, this relationship between Radha, Chaitanya Deva, and Sri Ramakrishna. There's the three examples of all the moods, Mahabhava and everything. When the Brahmani came, the Brahmani was the first one to try to prove through scholarship and through references to the scriptures and everything that Sri Ramakrishna was an avatar. And she did it by going to all of the books of these Vaishnava teachers that explain all the different physical manifestations.
19.
Yes, these 19, they were bhavas and rasas and different things. This burning sensation in the body, even blood coming out of the pores, constant weeping. There were 19 different signs, and she showed that all of these were manifest in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So all of them that were found in Radha and Chaitanya Deva, she said were found in Sri Ramakrishna, and she convinced all of them that they agreed, yes, that he meets all of the criteria that we read in these scriptures as being an avatar.
And that Vaishnav Charan had to admit.
Yes, yes, and he was the one, I think. He said, "Why do you say avatar? It's that he's the source of all avatars." See, there's a verse in the Bhagavata Purana. It lists all of the avatars, and then it says, "Krishna tu Bhagavan Swayam," but Krishna is the Lord Himself. So just in this one, otherwise we think Krishna or Rama, they're all avatars, but this is saying that Krishna is that we can say Vishnu himself, Narayan, the source of all the avatars. So he said, "Oh, you're only calling Sri Ramakrishna an avatar." Yeah. He's yeah.
So all are like part.
Yeah, Angsha and Kala. Yeah, they have, sometimes Thakur would ask how many
Anas.
parts or how many anas of wisdom do I have? Or sometimes, am I partial avatar, Angsha or Kala? That portion or a part. So the Vaishnava scriptures, they have all these different levels, and they made a whole science out of this. To what extent is that infinite absolute reality manifest in a human being? To what extent do we see that the perfect power and everything manifest in human form? I did all of this Vaishnava study without any interest in any of it. I did it only...
How you caught up in this?
Yeah, because...
You tell us that.
Yeah, because I was told, I wanted to study Sanskrit and Bengali. So I started taking some courses there, and then they said, we were taking courses, why not enter into this program? So they kept giving me scholarship money. So then one time, I spent a year in India, and I became very close with Swami Lakeshwaranandaji.
Oh, I see.
This was 1978, 79. And
What school, Swami?
well, I went to University of Pennsylvania.
That's where you got
Yeah.
the scholarship?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so
So scholarship given by whom? By the university?
by the university, yeah.
Okay.
So anyhow,
What is that for studying Vaishnava philosophy or?
just in general, the university gave this PhD program. They would give money for that. So I decided to join at that time. This was 1978. So we
So especially the
contacted.
influence of Swami Lokeshwaranand ji. Somewhat.
Even before that, I wanted to be a monk. When I first read the Gospel of Swami Krishna, almost, yeah. So I would say from probably 1975, I more or less decided. So he had me write to Swami Atmajnanananda ji. He was General Secretary at that time. And he said that you have to finish your PhD. After that, you can join. And then he said, but join in Southern California under Swami Swahananda ji. Yeah. So
At that time they had rule that the Western candidates should join there.
in the West, yeah. And he had been in Southern California, so he thought that would be a good place. So I just wanted to finish quickly, and I talked to my advisor, and I said, is there any good topic that is not very complicated, that I can just translate something and do something like that? Then I could finish very quickly. So he came up with this idea, because it was both Bengali and Sanskrit sources, so that was the one thing.
So Sri Jiva Goswami, you
Yes,
studied
so
this-
Jiva Goswami, I did some translation.
What was the
Tattva Sandarbha.
okay
It was the first
theme-
introductory of the 6 Sandarbhas.
theme of your PhD? Theme?
This Tattva Sandarbha, you're really interested. It's a little
Swami, can we read it? Can we find it online?
No, I don't think it was ever.
Oh,
It's
we
out
find it.
of print years ago.
Oh, no, we can find it now.
No, it's not interesting. It's a scholarly thing. Yeah. There's a verse from the Bhagavata Purana. It's a very interesting verse. It says, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam jnanavadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. So it's because we think of Bhagavata as a dualistic type of text, but it says that there's one non-dual consciousness, that the knowers of truth consider to be the highest truth. And then it says that it's called by 3 different names: Brahman, Paramatman, and Bhagavan.
Bhagavan iti shabdyati.
Iti shabdyate. And Bhagavan, personal God. Yeah. So he wrote this Jiva Goswami. All the different, there were 6 Goswamis. They were all commissioned to do different things. He was the youngest, and he was commissioned to do the philosophy. This Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they did the bhakti, the shastras.
Uncles.
Yes, uncle. Yes, they were his uncle. He was the youngest. So he took all of the different words in that. So there's one Bhagavat Sandarbha, there's one Paramatma Sandarbha, there's one Tattva Sandarbha. Like all of, so this one verse became really the explanation of this one verse became the entire thesis for Jiva Goswami. Their whole philosophy, this Chintya Bheda Bhedavada, it's all we can say commentary on one single verse from that. So this Tattva Sandarbha is the introductory book. And none of them had been translated. So my advisor said, yeah, you can do this. You translate this and do some commentary and everything. So I did that. But now, years later, I realized that I gained a lot from all of that. Yeah. And much of it is very much consistent with the Sri Ramakrishna's worldview of things, especially this idea of this Shakti aspect. Yeah. So now I have much more appreciation for it, actually. With the time, I just wanted to finish as quickly as I could so I could join the order.
So like ekam sat vipraha bahudha vadanti.
Yes.
Same thing is like translated like this.
Yes.
And Sri Ramakrishna also quoted many times. this one.
Yeah. Truth is one. The sages called it by many names.
So here
Question?
it's a shabd.
Yeah, question.
If I remember correctly, I feel like when he talked about Ramakrishna, he used to say he was really a Ramanuja kind of.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it feels like maybe because this Jiva Goswami's work wasn't so well known, that he was kind of saying that if maybe he understood that more.
Yes.
if you see Sri Ramakrishna, in different places he would say differently.
Yeah.
So he confirms with everybody.
Yeah.
But he is away from that also.
Yes. This seems to be M's view that this Vishishta Dvaitavada, this what we call qualified non-dualism, he seems to think that Sri Ramakrishna was closer to that than this Advaita Vedanta, partly because Thakur didn't care too much for this idea of this unreality of the world. But if we think of Vedanta in terms of this oneness of the individual soul and supreme soul, then we can say that the stick of ego is not real. To eliminate from that point of view, he's an Advaitin. When he gives the example of the bell fruit, then he's saying that all of the individual seeds are the jivas. There's no way to turn that into one seed or anything. That's Ramanuja's theory. And so Thakur uses this illustration, getting the full weight of the bell fruit. You know all that? You remember that illustration? Yeah. And sometimes he gives that illustration just on his own, but one time he makes some reference to this theory of Ramanuja, and Narendra is there. And surprisingly, Narendra doesn't know about it. Very surprisingly, he knew so much of philosophy, but he says to Sri Ramakrishna, what is this doctrine of Ramanuja, this qualified non-dualism? And then Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the bell fruit. That bell fruit has a hard outer shell, and it has a lot of seeds inside, and it has a little flesh. It's something like a butternut squash. Right? So if you want to cook a butternut squash, you have to remove the outer shell, and then you cut it open, and you have to scoop out the seeds. And then you use the flesh, that's the part for cooking, that's the essential part. So Sri Ramakrishna says that that essential part is what we call the Brahman, and the seeds inside are what we call jivas, individual souls, and the hard outer shell is what we call jagat, the world. And he says, you may say that if you only take that flesh and throw everything else, he said, okay, you've gotten that essential part, but you don't get the full weight of the bell fruit. Now, Advaita Vedanta will say that nothing is added or lost, purnamada purnamidam, that if you remove the waves from the ocean, that it's not going to weigh any less. They'll just become, it's all one. But this is a doctrine where Brahman alone is the ultimate reality, but it has internal distinctions. So anyhow, we get the impression sometimes that M will think that this is Ramakrishna's a doctrine of Vishishta Dvaita. But to me, this is more is his idea of this Vijnana about it. After coming down from the highest, then we see the Brahman has become everything, and everything is all inclusive. When he says you don't get the full weight, we can say that if we only take Brahman as Nirguna Brahman, and we don't see the Shakti aspect, we're also not getting the full weight. Many different ways of understanding that. So, and if we look at it, peeling the onion, pure Dvaita Vedanta, that inside you'll find nothing but infinite absolute reality, no I, no ego. That means no ultimate reality to the jiva. So we can argue that, yes, on the one hand, he's an Advaitin. The other hand, he's a qualified non-dualist. But
he worships as dualist.
And he worships as a dualist. He says, yes, you have to form a relationship with God. Right. Yeah, but then we realize at some point that none of these represented truth for Sri Ramakrishna. They represented a path. Maut Pat. He would say all these different doctrines, they're different paths. Truth is in realization. Truth is in the thing itself. What is Brahman like? Brahman is like Brahman. All these other analogies, they'll capture it from a particular angle. They'll have their value. They're all helpful. We can follow one. It'll take us to the highest goal. But that doesn't mean that this is the only way to explain this reality. It's beyond all description.
And secondly, that whatever is recorded in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, only few days when M used to visit, those days. But when Sri Ramakrishna used to teach young disciples, so he would close the door and he would see whether anybody is listening or not. Then they would, Sri Ramakrishna would teach the younger disciples, especially Narendranath.
Mm.
And what Narendranath taught here, Swami Vivekananda, it's all Advaita. So, though we, as manifestation, we don't deny, but it's ultimately it is one. Manifestation may be different. As Latu Maharaj. So what happened in Lahore? Swamiji said, Latu, you have to go with me. He said, no, I don't have pagudi, like that
The turban.
turban. And then Swamiji gave a turban. Then he said, no, I don't have al-khalla, like big coat. Then Swamiji gave that also. And then Latu Maharaj went there. When he did not know English. But Swamiji was excited and he was pacing and giving lecture. And while giving lecture, he banged the table. And the vase fell down. And then the Swamiji came back and asked Latu, could you understand anything what I said? He said, yes. What Sri Ramakrishna taught, you said the same thing. And then Swamiji said, you alone could understand what I said. So what's the point? Point is, Sri Ramakrishna used to teach what is not recorded in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So that is to his own disciples, the renouncing disciples. Of course, Sri Ramakrishna gave medicine like doctor to various patients. Medicine would be different. So like that, Dvaita, Vishishadvaita. And whosoever came to Sri Ramakrishna, he thought that Sri Ramakrishna belongs to their clan. That is the beauty.
Yeah, he used to say that.
Yes. So very good, Maharaj. Thank you very much for today.
Yeah.
And we'll meet tomorrow also. Yeah. So it's more than 1 hour.
Good. Okay.
We say our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Oh, super.
Yes, Maharaj.
I recognized your voice the very first time earlier.
How was the flight, Maharaj?
Oh, fine. Yeah. It was a little late. It was a late flight for us, but it was good. Nice.